All right, guys, we're now joined by field hockey head coach Char Morett-Curtiss. Coach, if you could just talk about how the preseason's gone up until this point, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Okay, sounds great. We had an outstanding preseason. I thought the players came back ready to get going. They were fit. Coach Zamora did a nice job with the players that were here this summer, so it's nice that they sort of had a head start on their conditioning factor. We implemented a little bit of a different format where we're really trying to play high up-tempo hockey, so we limited our time on the field, spent a lot of time in video, and just really working on an aggressive style of play to get the season started. We elected two captains, Shay Cannon and Skylar Fretz. I think both outstanding choices, overwhelmingly voted in by their teammates. Our staff is back. We have LB. She's, I think, in her 24th year. She's taking her daughter to college today down at Marymount. So a little bit of an emotional week for LB. Stewart is back, and Simon is our volunteer as well. But it was a great week. The weather was very, very cooperative, so you always appreciate that. But it was we got a lot accomplished, and I think it really reflected in our two scrimmages. We started out against James Madison, very, very shaky, a little tentative, and regrouped in the second half. And then when we went to Syracuse last Saturday, just a big difference, a big change from our composure and our possession play, our defense, our attack. So it was really nice to see the players make that change going from one scrimmage to the next scrimmage. And we talked about just the goals of composure, communication on the field, and they really came through in that second scrimmage against Syracuse.
Char, from what you noticed in those scrimmages, obviously the two drastic differences, what did you learn about your team in those two changes that maybe you didn't know before or during preseason?
I have to say I was a little taken back with our start against James Madison being at home. I thought they would show a little bit more composure at the start of the game, but credit James Madison because they really came on strong and were very aggressive in their press. So the players, just having that conversation with them, Carl Olson has come on board, is helping us with some sports psych tips. So I think just really talking through why they started out so tentatively. I think they were just nervous, really, and understanding that, all right, that's why we have these preseason scrimmages, but let's make sure that when we're ready to play Syracuse, that everybody's focused and everybody's in the right position to help support your teammates on the field. I think what happened is they all sort of crashed at once, and they weren't there to support the players on the field, so we didn't really have any options when it came to playing the ball out. But so big improvement, stretching the field, ball speed was something else we addressed. So I think that they made those changes, and it was very, very clear against Syracuse.
With having quite a few playing experience back, have players talked about the ending to last year at all, getting bounced out of the first round, or has that fueled them at all for this season?
I would say it definitely fueled them during the off season, probably gave a little bit more motivation to their training this summer. It was a very, very disappointing way to lose to Princeton, who went on to the Final Four. But, you know, we did put that behind us, and as we say every year, it's 2017 now, just like last year it was 2016. So we're really focused on taking one game at a time. We know going down to Old Dominion and Virginia this weekend are going to be very challenging for us. So, you know, our game plan in preseason was really try to increase the tempo of play so we can really change the game to our benefit with the speed with which we play. That was a great question.
And following up that question, Princeton is on your schedule again. I know you take it one game at a time and try not to look too far ahead, but how hard is it not to be looking at that, saying you want that rematch?
Well, we had that rematch this spring, and it didn't go so well. So it was, again, a little bit eye-opening for me that when we did scrimmage Princeton at Princeton in the spring that we didn't show enough competitiveness. And, you know, I still forget this team is somewhat young. I mean, we do have the bulk of our junior class is the spine of our field with the Jenny Rizzo, Aurelia, Ginny Bramley, Maura Putsch, those kids, Katie Dombrowski. So I'm just hoping that they can understand how important it is to take it one game at a time and not look too forward.
You guys are going down to Virginia and Old Dominion this weekend. what are some of the things that you're looking for out of your team as you kind of get started early on here?
You know, we do have somewhat of a new backfield. Last year, we had Carly Selkos and Emily Arrett. They played the two side backs. So this year, we have Corey Conley, who took a redshirt medical year last year. She's on one of the side backs. And also Maddie Morano was in the midfield. She started towards the end of the season. So we just need those two backs along with Bess, Skylar to really form a team defense back there. So I would say we're still working on our defense to play as a unit. And then we really want, again, get our midfielders to be very aggressive getting into the attacking lines. We always say, like, build up our layers, get ahead of the ball. So we're trying to put our fitness into the game, which we think could be a big advantage for us.
Now, meanwhile, up front, you return most of your top scoring from last year. So how much are you counting on them, especially early in the season, to be able to carry that part of the load?
Yeah, definitely Maura Push had a tremendous year, as did Aurelia last year. So we're really looking for those two to get the ball on goal. They did a nice job in the previous scrimmages on putting the ball around the goal, but not putting the ball in the goal. So fortunately, they've had some assists. But, you know, we're going to work a little bit more this week on honing our corner. Our corner is a big piece, our penalty corner, scoring off of that, where Maura led the country in assists. So, you know, hopefully we can get that piece a little bit more efficient. I think that will bring scoring from both Maura, Aurelia, possibly Katie Dombrowski as well. But we have Shay Cannon. She's done a nice job. Cassie Klein. So we have some threats around the cage, even though we did lose like a Brooke Barasic.
Sure. 2 games slated for Big Ten Network. Big Ten Network now going into its 10th year. How has their commitment to the program and exposure of the program kind of helped from an alumni recruiting standpoint within the program?
It's definitely helped from a recruiting standpoint. You know, we have kids that come to camp every summer, and they talk all the time about how excited they are to watch the games on Big Ten. And so they recognize the players when they come to camp. They've seen them on the Big Ten Network playing field hockey. Also with our alumni base, I'm always getting tweets out or just texts saying, you know, looking forward to watching the team play. We have, you know, some international students that their parents can watch them play in Holland. Stewart, my assistant, his dad stays up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to watch it live in Australia. So, you know, I think it's really done just given us great exposure for our sport as well. Our sport, while it's growing slowly, we really look to get that exposure a lot from the Olympics every 4 years, but with BTN and the field hockey piece that they put on, especially throughout the season and with the tournament every year, it just has really helped our sport grow because it gives the younger players an opportunity to see how the sport should be played instead of waiting every 4 years for an Olympic event. So I think it's not only done wonders for Penn State and for Penn State field hockey, but also for sport of field hockey. We're grateful.
Hi, Coach. Good morning, first
Good
off.
morning.
With Penn State athletic program, you know, being as dominant as it is, with, you know, as your team won a Big Ten title, the football team won a Big Ten title, you know, what are you learning, you know, along throughout the years, you know, from different programs, and what are the coaches, you know, do the coaches like kind of all meet up and just trying to pick each other's brain on, you know, strategic ways how to, I guess, do certain things better in terms of their coaching, in terms of their strategies against opponents. That way, you know, Penn State can still remain atop of some of the elite programs in the country.
Well, we have the best coaches in the country, and that's just a reflection of the success of the programs. And, you know, what's great about being here at Penn State, I mean, I remember even as a player here, just sharing information, you know, with the different coaches that were here when I was here as a player. And, you know, for me to be able to come back 31 years ago and still have that support from our coaches, and there are just so many coaches that have great innovative styles. And Mike Portman did a weekly article every week this summer, which each coach picked a word that might reflect their program. And it was just great to read the different philosophies. And, you know, we're also supportive of each other. So when we get together, which sadly isn't enough to share ideas, it's just great to know that you always have that support. You see them at games. We talk about the competitions. We talk about our training practices, whether it be sports science, whether it be nutrition. So we share a lot of information, and everybody here at Penn State, it really truly is one team. That's what makes it, gives you that pride of Penn State to want to coach here and to be around other amazing coaching minds, that information is shared and that information is supported. And it's whether you're having a great win or maybe a tough loss, you're always going to hear from your coaches. And I think that speaks volumes of the culture that we have here at Penn State in the athletic department.
Any other questions for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.